I'm Latham Thomas. I'm the founder of Mama Glow, which is a maternity lifestyle company based in New York City. We support people along the childbearing continuum and are really committed to reproductive justice and birth equity in the United States and abroad. And I'll be your moderator this evening and holding space with our amazing panelists. And I just want to thank Well+Good for hosting us. And so if you're just getting here to this conversation, we want to welcome you. Diversity is not a theme, but it's a problem. Please note that these issues aren't new, but age old. And just because you're here learning about them doesn't mean that they're new. It means that you have a lot of catching up to do, a lot of work ahead. So roll up your sleeves, take notes to get ready. I want to acknowledge that the topics and questions that will be answered are hurdles we come up against on a daily basis. Racist encounters to systemic oppression, tokenism, saviorism, exceptionalism, inequity, pay gaps, exclusion, erasure. These are just some of the harms we metabolize daily as Black, Indigenous people of color. And the lived experience of racism weathers our bodies and weighs down our spirits. Healing is a dance and is deeply woven within our ancestral technology as Black, Indigenous people of color. It is our pathway to healing. Our practices have been stolen, appropriated, sanitized, processed, retooled, repackaged, and sold back to us in a form that we don't even recognize. And the wellness industry, which is valued at over $4.2 trillion, is fueled by the principles of domination and centering whiteness at its pinnacle, has greatly created a global machine that is powered by capitalism and maintained by white supremacy. The very act of speaking to these issues affects us in our communities and is laborious. The unearthing of truth is exhausting, and while very necessary for catalyzing growth, it renders those of us here holding space in this conversation vulnerable. So take good care, right? Take care of us, be respectful of us, and show up in this space. For each of us to show up in this space, we had to evoke our own personal self-care and healing tools to prepare mentally, spiritually, and emotionally for this conversation to take place publicly, right? So be clear that these conversations are being had in circles and in silos and amongst ourselves. For us to show up here to be in this space takes energy. So understand what you're about to witness and receive is actually a gift. And each person here is in service as a teacher, as a leader, and as a healer. And please note that no one on this panel is Google. That's not their name, first, middle, or last. So please do not expect that outside of this space, you can contact them in any form or fashion to further educate you. Those days are actually over. Please seek out their formal offerings and support their work and take note of the resources they share. So with that, I'd like to welcome our esteemed panelists to this conversation. I want to start with Elisa Shankle, who's a co-founder of HealHaus. Elisa married her love for design. She holds an interior design degree from the Pratt Institute with her passion for holistic health to create HealHaus, a safe, a cafe and healing space in Brooklyn, and a safe space, really. After learning to overcome her anxiety and depression naturally through diet and plants, she became dedicated to sharing the benefits of alternative medicine with others. Together with Darian Hall, she co-founded HealHaus, which offers indoor and outdoor group programming in these areas where they promote yoga, meditation, and other classes are held. It's a deeply spiritually grounding space. And the Wellness Sanctuary is designed as a safe space where healing is accessible, inclusive, and community-oriented. You can find her on Instagram at Elisa Schenkel and at HealHaus. Mariam Ajayi is a CEO and founder of Dive In Well. Mariam is a founder and both the CEO of Dive In Well, creating space, community, conversations, and change for my diverse wellness industry, and Ingdaba, helping socially conscious people and companies grow to their full potential. An energy healer and entrepreneur with over 10 years experience in business growth strategy and strategic partnerships across a multitude of industries ranging from politics to tech. She's also an activist, disruptor, and change maker, using her voice to uplift and empower others. Mariam is passionate about advocating for inclusive spaces for marginalized communities, destigmatizing the wellness industry, and workplace well-being. She's worked with brands such as Nike Women, Lululemon, The Wing, General Assembly, and she and her work have been featured in the New York Times, Sunday Times, Goop, The Cut, and The 30. She can be found on Instagram at Miriam Ajayi, Dive In Well, and Ingadaba. And last but not least, Nicole Cardoza, founder and executive director of Yoga Foster and founder of Reclamation Ventures. Nicole is the founder and executive director of Yoga Foster, a nonprofit that's national and empowers and educators with yoga and mindfulness resources in the classroom. She's also the founder of Reclamation Ventures, a fund that invests high potential and underestimated entrepreneurs, making wellness more accessible in their communities. She teaches accessible, friendly yoga classes that blend movement and reflection. She can be found on Instagram at Nicole Cardoza, Yoga Foster, and Reclamation Ventures. I want to welcome you all. Thank you so much for being here this evening and sharing your energy with us. First of all, just how are you doing today? Before we even get started, how are y'all doing?
My general response has been, I'm Black. So like, that's how I'm doing. Take with it what you shall.
Who's next? Lisa, how you doing?
Today I am feeling grounded. Also, that introduction was incredible. First and foremost, I'm floored. So I'm just grateful for that introduction. Was spot on. And to be in this space is divine timing and intention. And I'm just really excited to deep dive into this with all four of you. So I feel lit right now. I feel great. So let's do this. That's how I feel.
Amazing. Yep. Nicole, what's going on for you?
Feel blessed to be here. Blessed to have this conversation with each of you. So I'm feeling good.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'd like to start with this first question. Each of you has committed your life to the pursuit of well-being and of service. You're all wellness practitioners, and each of you uses mindfulness and healing practices to combat anxiety. That's one thing that I found as a through line for each of you in a lot of what I read up about your work and your journeys. Can you speak briefly about how you came to be in dialogue with your healing and how your wellness journey informs your current work? And I would like each of you to respond, so whoever would like to go first. Miriam?
I'll go. Okay. Well, I mean, I was closed off to spirituality most of my life, if I'm going to be quite honest. I remember like reading The Prophet when I was younger, or like these profound books like the Tao, and I didn't really understand why I was drawn to these spiritual texts. And it wasn't until I was 27, going through my Saturn return, where everything I had built in my life had started to kind of just crumble. Like everything was a facade. And I was like, well, what is the truth? And I went on this journey to find it. And my journey to wellness actually started through physical pain. I suffered from chronic pain most of my life, and I tried everything. I was on an insane amount of painkillers, going to see different physical therapists. And then finally, I just decided to like try something else out. And I always joke about how I stumbled into wellness because I got a massage with this thing called Reiki in it. But after I had accidental Reiki, everything kind of changed for me. And I deepened my yoga practice. I started meditating. I started seeing Reiki practitioners, started doing breath work, started exploring the tarot. And it was like my whole life within a couple of a year exploded into this whole realm of spirituality. And it was almost like the illusion wasn't there anymore, and the world was completely my oyster. And I started to see, as I kept going within, more and more magical things were happening in my life. And it didn't mean that it was all roses. Like I was uncovering a lot of traumatic things that happened in my life, a lot of ancestral trauma. When I even wrap like my head around ancestral trauma that we carry in our body and started to heal some of that stuff, I just really became passionate about sharing those things with others. And I myself, I suffer from anxiety, bouts of depression, and PTSD. So in this world, I do therapy, you know, as an entrepreneur, but I also use tools like the tarot, like Reiki, meditation, to navigate this thing called, you know, and I joke about, I'm not joking about it, I am Black, you know, navigating being Black always, especially right now, navigating being a Black business owner, navigating being a Black woman business owner. Even before this, I had a sound healing session because I had some stuff come up today and I wanted to be grounded and present. And I was able to call upon another Black healer to do a sound healing and reading for me before we got on today. So I like to pull from my toolbox every day if I can.
Beautiful, thank you. Nicole, would you like to share?
Sure. I similarly didn't grow up with these practices and discovered yoga by accident when I moved to New York City. I did it to fit in and not because I thought I would get something out of it. And so I was really surprised and you know, now honored and humbled that it was the beginning of spiritual practices that made me feel at home in my body. That was something I didn't know I could have after navigating most of my life with my body in spaces where I was taught that I didn't belong. And so from there, shortly thereafter, I had started working in schools and got to see the impact of these kinds of practices in a classroom, which defined how I showed up. You know, as a leader, I started teaching when I was 19 years old. And since then, I can't imagine my life without it. And I feel very passionate about ensuring that everybody has access, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't have these practices myself.
Beautiful, Elisa.
I resonate with what you both said. I started my journey in my early 20s. I was working in corporate, doing interior design and architecture, and having panic attacks in the bathroom because of the pressure to just perform and not be able to be myself within the work environment. And I actually started going to therapy. And these were things I sought out on my own. I started understanding more about naturopathic medicine because I never believed in taking medication. So I had to dig into what was going to be best for me. So I started my journey into understanding different plant medicines and how to heal myself naturally. Started seeing a naturopathic doctor and just really learned about, you know, how can I manage my anxiety? How can I understand like where it's coming from? And also realizing my community with my friends and my family members that this wasn't something that was accessible to us. And I found myself sending family members herbal remedies that had diabetes, high blood pressure, all these things that we have in the Black community, and feeling like, why aren't we marketed these things? Why are we marketed Cheetos and McDonald's and all of these things that are toxic to us? And we're not told that we can heal ourselves naturally. So it quickly became a passion of mine. And I grew up in the South, I grew up in the countryside. So I grew up very much close to the earth, growing our own food, those types of things. So it was already kind of embedded in me. And it was just something that I just started to explore more, how to heal myself through diet, herbs, all these things. And it became a passion of mine because I was so frustrated about why this information wasn't accessible. So I actually started making my own blends in my mid-20s. I really got into community healing. Similarly to Miriam, I actually got Reiki attuned as well, which completely changed my life. It's like putting on glasses and everything changes. Like you actually see the world for real. And once that happened, also with me, a very traumatic thing happened. Before that, I actually lost my brother. And that was the thing that sent me into this, like, I'm not going to survive. So I have to really do the deep work. I have to heal myself. And so when that happened, it opened a lot up for me because I chose to thrive instead of letting it take me out. And that was also with his spiritual guidance, and started just diving deeper more into my spiritual practice, working with a lot of different healers. And HealHaus was born out of that. Like I often say, I co-created HealHaus with my brother and with my partner, and my partner was going through a transformational time as well. And so it was born out of the need for these spaces for us that don't have a place to heal body, mind, and spirit. And when I say for us, I say BIPOC, Black people specifically, like we don't have these spaces. And often being in the wellness space for so long and not seeing myself reflected in the practitioners, not seeing myself reflected in the clients, including myself, and feeling really disconnected and feeling like this isn't for me. So it was very important to create space that reflected that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And it's so important, right, for us to see what's possible for ourselves when we're in spaces where we don't see ourselves reflected. I remember going to yoga classes and being like the only Black person, and knowing that like there was more of us practicing yoga, but for some reason, many of us didn't feel comfortable, right? And that's mirrored everywhere when we look in magazines and when we, you know, see how the sort of dominant culture shapes a narrative around who wellness is for and who it's not, right? So thank you so much for all of your commitments in that area. I want to ask you, Nicole, first also about your journey with Yoga Foster, which really started 6 years ago, right? With this intention of making yoga and mindfulness accessible to low-income public schools across the country. I want to find out from you just sort of what was that entry point, like what made that important for you? And for a backdrop for those who like don't understand sort of the legacy that this comes from of bringing yoga into schools, you know, we have a rich history, people of color, of gathering people for healing spaces. The Black Panther Party had what were called survival programs, and they actually introduced yoga into schools in the 60s and 70s. And so for Nicole to be sort of in this legacy, it's so beautiful to see that you know, brought that into the school space. But I'm curious, like, what was that for you?
Yeah, it started, you know, I informally started Yoga Foster over 10 years ago, even though as a company, it's been around for 6 years. And it started, I was volunteering at an after-school program at a school in the Lower East Side, and I used to walk from that school to go to yoga after at a donation-based yoga studio on St. Mark's. And there had happened to be a shooting on the street outside of the school while I was there, which meant that the kids weren't allowed to play on the playground before they did their homework help, which is why I was there. And so the school was looking for a way to get the kids moving indoors. They knew I was really passionate about yoga. They're like, will you come and teach the kids yoga after school, which is how our first program started. And then from there, we spread it throughout the Lower East Side and throughout New York City. Our intention was to make it free for schools, knowing that the schools that we worked with were already struggling to meet the most basic needs. And what I always found ironic was that the school that we worked at was like 3 blocks from a Lululemon store where, you know, not 3 blocks, but close enough to a Lululemon store where it just blew my mind that people were buying $68 leggings. And then a few blocks away, there was a school that didn't have adequate gym or recess. And so how we do that work and how we've been doing it ever since is redistributing resources from the wellness industry into wellness communities and building those and fostering those in schools across the United States. So I had just started my own wellness practice when all of this happened, and my work has been rooted and my practice has been rooted in solving these inequities since the beginning. And I'm grateful that I've been able to see this industry from that lens. And it's a great reminder that there's a wellness industry and that there's a wellness practice. And oftentimes they get conflated between the two. So I think that the coolest yoga studios are in classrooms across the country. And it's really exciting to see so many kids grow up with these practices as if they're their own, because it's their birthright. And the problem is we have to unlearn that.
Thank you for that. And just for your commitment to, I mean, for those who don't know, Nicole, like she'll be in a bus traveling the country, right? Like here getting babies, teaching them, right? So it's like the literal practice of teaching the babies, right? Is her commitment. So thank you for that. Elisa, HealHaus opened its doors in 2018. And you just, you know, with your design background, right, moving away from this idea of like sterility and clinical, like kind of spaces where they're all sanitized when you go in, they don't have no soul, right? You wanted to bring the soul into the space, right? And create a space that really was welcoming for everyone. Can you speak about the importance of what it means to really take up physical space? You know, you're in Brooklyn, you're rooted in space, people get to walk by and see that there is a Black-owned business, but also have Black and brown bodies as teachers, have practitioners that are affirmed and practicing this work. Can you talk about what it means to really affirm that everyone is welcome, and what it really means to take up space in the way that you are?
Yeah. It's such a full question. I really love that you brought up this fact about clinical space, because when I was concepting HealHaus and thinking about what the physical space would look like and the energy that it would give off, I was always wondering, why are all wellness spaces white, sterile, gray? Like I didn't understand that even just from a visual. It was always very confusing to me, and also oppressive in itself, and kind of a very an oppressive space to me personally. So I definitely wanted to have a space that vibrated with colors of the earth, different colors, warmth. I never understood why, because to me, healing space is about a warm space, something that feels nurturing, something that feels nourishing when you come in, right? And then also not intimidating. A lot of wellness spaces feel intimidating, from the music they play to who feels like seeing your face reflected, feeling like it may even not be gender neutral, which is usually often a thing too, especially for men. There aren't a lot of wellness spaces that are welcoming to men. And also just like being able to be welcome to the spectrum, LGBTQ+, everyone, right? That reflects our collective. And the first step to that is providing practitioners that also reflect the collective, right? And to me, that feels natural and normal, but it's definitely not something that is present in a lot of wellness spaces. You often see a very consistent look, feel, usually appropriated religion in spaces. I also wanted to have a very neutral space from spiritual practices. So when you walk in, you're not going to see like Eastern, or you're not going to see like a appropriated religion in a space, which I feel like often happens. I just wanted it to feel like very much like a community space. And when people walk in, you feel welcomed. We play hip hop music, we play electronic music. Like we really wanted to say, hey, this is a community space, but when you come here, you're going to do some real work. And in order, for me, I'm interested in the newcomer. I'm more interested in the newcomer than the regular wellness goer. And in order for me to access that person, it was really about creating a space that where you come in, you feel like there's no judgment. You feel like you can come as you are, and we're not telling you what to do. So when you come in, we're not saying you need to take a class, you need to do this. It's very much you come in and you see what resonates with you. And I feel like that's not often the agenda of the wellness industry. It's very much telling you and selling you what you need to do. But for us, it's just about literally holding space. And what does it look like to build community around wellness? So you can take a class, but you can also hang out in the cafe. You can go out back and connect with someone. And what has happened from that dynamic, we have really created a family, my HealHaus family. And they're my tribe, like our practitioners, our clients, like we really ride for each other. We learn from each other, and we function like a family. And so when I say house, it really is a house. It's a house, it's a home. When I'm there, I honestly feel out of body. I feel like it's not even, I feel like first I didn't create it. I feel like it's not even a part of me. Like it's almost like I'm just a vessel here to facilitate. And it's beautiful because I feel how people feel like they're at home and they have something to claim for themselves. And that for me is what healing is about, that this is for you and you need safe space. So welcome, right? So I'd say kind of like that is what I feel about that.
That's beautiful. And it's so important, right, for people to feel safe. And I love that you also mentioned, you know, our LGBTQ plus folk, because often when we look at what wellness looks like, there's a complete exclusion of an entire group of people, you know, having access, but also being like, what can wellness be for them, right? If they're not invited into space, and seeing folks like them in space.
I meant to say too, having community, like physical space is you have to have donation programming as well. And that's something that I find that's missing. Like we weekly have donation programming, especially being in the community that we're in Bed-Stuy. It gives people the opportunity to come in and try a class that have never done anything like this before. It's always important to have something that's give what you have, where people can actually just like step into it and try something. Mm-hmm. And that's the accessibility component that I find to be so important, just to be able to have that as well. So I just wanted to highlight that because it's really important with physical space.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's part of self-determination, right? Because you invest in yourself when you pay what you can. Yeah. Beautiful. Miriam, you recently reached your crowdfunding goal and raised over $20K for your Juneteenth gathering most recently as well, just last week. Can you speak to the importance of investment in Black femme-led businesses, as well as the challenges around fundraising?
I'm looking at all y'all of Black femme fundraising. It's an experience in its own. You know, knowing what you're going up against before you go in it, and it's kind of like looking at the cards and seeing they're all stacked against you. It's also something that in itself, to see the cards and be like, okay, I'm gonna go in it, is something to grapple with and wrap your mind around. Because if you look at Black women business owners are starting the most companies, we have the highest spending dollar in the US economy, yet we only receive 0.02% of funding, which is absolutely ridiculous for me. But it's like knowing that I have my ancestry behind me to really make magic happen and to really go for my dreams. And knowing that I'm powerful enough to go up against literally a system in order for people to be well. It's been a very, you know, I've worked in business for about 10 years and I could easily make a white-owned company $1 million in a week. I used to literally just be like, okay, how are we going to do it? Boom, 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 $1 million, hit my target. And seeing that I had to fight tooth and nail, our crowdfunding campaign until 3 weeks ago had only hit $19,000. And having so much support within the industry. Over the past year, we had gathered about 100 influencers, leaders. I had talked to you, Latham, over email of people who were like, I'm rooting for you, rooting for your company. But when it came time for us to receive funding, it was kind of like crickets, right? And knowing that some white counterparts could easily get $250 or $250,000 in a family and friends round for the same old that has just been perpetuating harm. And I'm here trying to make spaces for my people, for other people that are more inclusive, and to not see that support off the bat, it's disheartening. But again, that's like, I'm gonna keep going because I know that I have this in my DNA to keep fighting for what I believe in. And so for me, like, it's really important for me to stress to people, like, if you know why you're here on earth, like I knew I was going to be one of the first people into the room. I knew I'm here on earth to use my voice. And part of that is going to make people uncomfortable. So I know like people love me and I know some people aren't going to, and I know that's my path and I'm here to make space for other people. And once I found my dharma, what I'm here for, nothing is going to stop me in that pursuit. And it's like, I know my heart. And so I had to keep going and keep going and going and going. And to see that, you know, we hit our crowdfunding campaign about 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I don't know what time is, y'all. So, you know, I'm struggling with it. I don't know if it was a month ago or last week, but we hit our crowdfunding campaign because not only were people looking for safe spaces for Black and brown people to go to, and there weren't that many, or people had to sift through it. you know, through the internet, because there was so much noise when COVID hit, and it was dominated by white voices, white, cis, heteronormative, able bodies, able to get on the internet really quickly and sell programs that were inaccessible. So not only were the BIPOC community hit the hardest with COVID and everything was brought online, we didn't see ourselves reflected on the internet, right? And then when all of the racism riots started happening, and I'm not even gonna, it's like a awakening of the genocide we've been under, then people were like, wow, we really need to invest in Black femme companies that have already been talking about this. So it was phenomenal to see that explosive growth. We surpassed our target. We have been able to raise money to put on initiatives that put funds directly in the hands of our Black and brown practitioners that have been underpaid. As practitioners, we know when we're told that there's no budget to pay us, and we know our white counterpart is being paid. And I've seen the data of what practitioners put in for their worth, and I know how much white counterparts make, and to be able to pay Black people, Black BIPOC people, what white people are making in this industry, there's been no greater fulfillment in my life to be able to redistribute funds and give people their worth. We've only scratched the surface. You know, we've raised about $70,000 to get us going. And I say this of like, that goes really fast, and we need more funding in order to do the work that we're doing. So, you know, the crowdfund is part one, and now I'm faced with going up against getting angel investors, you know, et cetera, to really put money behind my company and diversity in wellness as a whole. I'll stop there because I know we're going to get into some juicier bits of that.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, I think that also what people don't realize is in this time of COVID, and when you watch people who could really pivot online really easily, who had resources, they were also giving those resources for free. And many of those resources they were giving away for free was work that we have actually built, right? Built off the backs of our own work. And so then if you're a practitioner or a service provider who cannot like build a website in 2 days, who cannot like figure out a brand pivot that quickly, then you were out of work. But not only that, we were training an entire group of people to now expect those services for free. So now they're going to go over here because this person put together a really sleek, like online, you know, data capture oriented sort of drip for, you know, like building their list, when meanwhile that's your work, right? And so I think another thing people don't think about is like, they think they're doing good, but there's harm when we don't really look at the full scope of like who all is touched when I do something, right? Figuring out that we're all together. So thank you for speaking to that. I want to ask you, Nicole, also about what we've been seeing a lot of in this space right now, and you've spoken about it a lot, of what I call optical allyship, which is taking place in this moment. A lot of people performing, doing acrobatics, right, to show that they are here for this movement, right? But a lot of it's for obviously social gain. You know, there's a lot to be gained by having proximity to Blackness, especially in this moment, right? And so I would love for you to speak to what performative allyship has shown up for, how it's shown up in your experience, so folks can identify. Because a lot of people on here might think that they're doing great, and they may not know what that looks like. So if you just want to share just an example, not nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I mean, performative allyship is when people pretend like they are in this work for the sake of Black people, but they're actually in the work for the sake of themselves. Most of the time in this industry in particular, we see a lot of brands that are using Blackness to serve their own capitalistic gains. I mean, I've been in this work for a while. I've been running my nonprofit for a long time. I've raised millions of dollars. We work with tons of programs. So we have a really great organization, and I'm proud of what I've done. And I love/hate when brands that like have turned down working with us years over years because they don't think that I am good enough or pretty enough or smart enough or fill in the blank to be a valuable partner, are like DM DMing me asking if I can come on their Instagram lives for free. And it's like, if you actually cared, you would have been doing the work with me over the past 10 years that I've been in this, and not all of a sudden now because Black Lives Matters is trending. So yeah, I mean, I had I talk a lot about my relationship with Yoga Journal and how they had racial discrimination against me a year ago. I called them out for it. They agreed to making a lot of changes that they never made internally, from hiring diversity and equity and inclusion people, to creating an advisory board to make sure that they have more comprehensive editorial practices. And then for them to come into my inbox 2-3 weeks ago asking for some kind of, Black Lives Matters email bullshit, just really like demonstrates like the full scope of this. It's like they've had a whole year to be able to do the baseline work that they should have done to begin with, but only cared about like showing up again and trying to use my face again for their gains. So it looked like they were actually in this conversation. I actually think, a lot of times people think that optical allyship is allyship because the word is there, but it's not. It's the opposite of that. It's far more harmful than doing nothing. And I would much rather see people that are pretending like they're here for the work to just sit the fuck down and get out of the way. Because there's people that have been doing this work for a long time. All of us on this call, we're going to be here regardless if brands want to be involved with us or not. And the people that have the capacity and the strength to step up and join us need that space. Beautiful. I could talk a lot more, but I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, let's stop there because we have so many things to talk about still. And this would be, we would have them on all night, and we would be transitioning into church. And y'all didn't come for church because we ain't got the collection plate like that ready. So let's just stay focused here, but know that these conversations are happening in our spaces. Again, if you're just getting here, if you got on late and you didn't hear everybody's social handles, make sure you follow and continue the dialogue once we leave. Also in the chat, continue conversations, and also look at the Q&A to be able to share questions there. Elisa, I want to ask about tokenism. It's a huge problem in wellness, right? You can be the only Black person on a panel at a conference or a retreat. Like, we have to exalt one person. There can be only one. There is only one, right? I wanted you to speak on the difference between tokenism and integration. But again, we don't have an hour.
I know, right? Oh gosh. It's interesting. I'm also, just to co-sign Nicole, I'm in a very frustrated space with performative allyship right now. And because even just the last 2 years I've been in this business, and it's like, you're not even, some brands, even a lot of brands aren't even doing the tokenism, all right? They don't even have the Black hand on the Instagram feed, or they don't, it's like, they're not even doing that, right? It's just a feed of all white people, very thin, blonde. This is what it's been, right? And this is the majority of wellness brands, right? And it's just, tokenism is using a person of color, a Black person, to just basically stand for some diversity check mark, but you're not actually doing anything to represent us as a culture, as a people, in every way, shape, or form, right? So actually doing the work to integrate us into becoming clients, and not in a way where, we're just coming in and we're like, hey, we're like the diversity token, where it's actually inclusive of our experience as well. And there's multiple ways that you can do that. And I've seen from a marketing standpoint, from a brand standpoint, people just aren't doing that, even just on the outside, to be like, maybe this could be for me. And that's just the outward facade appearance of just that could even just get us interested. But you're actually not doing the work behind the scenes. You're not doing the work within your infrastructure. You're not hiring Black people. You're not putting Black people in executive positions where decisions that are made actually affect what's happening, right? So that trickle-down effect, it trickles down into all aspects of your business, where it's a holistic integration. So through your marketing, through who's being hired, through who do you even have the intention of supporting? And that's the difference between integrating and just putting a Black person or person of color in your marketing campaign or just on your social media feed, where it's like, oh, like this could be for me, but really it's not. And I mean, I've known for a very long time the difference. And, you know, the secret's out. We all know the difference. You know, we all know the difference. And that's the crazy thing, is like, you think that the change, it's almost like you're playing us for a fool, because we're like, we've been here, right? We've been here. And now that everything's hit and everything's been kind of shaken up and everyone is getting some sort of reality check, it's like, no, you have to do so much more than what you have been doing or not doing at all, because this is a deeper issue that has been affecting us for so long in the wellness industry that we don't feel a part of. And that doesn't reflect our experience and isn't accessible to us.
Thank you. And thank you for speaking to this idea of recognizing when it shows up, because discernment, for those of you who are in the space, who are getting the DMs and getting the emails and getting all these, like, people forget that there's a history. It's like, I done seen all the unreads or the red receipts or the emails that I'm like, wait a minute, this name sounds familiar. Then you're like, oh, these are the people who passed, or the people who said no, or the people who ignored, who are now flooding, like you said, and flooding and asking for stuff for free, or flooding and asking for you to show up today. Can you come today on my IG Live? Can you come, right? It's like, by the way, Instagram is not this is not our business address. We have websites, we have email addresses, we have people that you can reach out to connect, to connect with us, right? You don't go into somebody's DMs for business, right? So go the proper channel, and also apologize, show up and say, you know what? I realize, and we as a brand realize that, you know, when we showed up initially, we did not offer you your rate, and you deserve your full rate. And here's actually what we're going to do. And we'd also like to know what else we can do and help you in the way that you would like to be helped. How do we support you in the way you would like to be supported on your journey? How can we help make you stronger, right? So show up in a way with humility to learn, but also for those of us who are in a space, they're trying to figure out, oh, it's nice, I'm getting the shine. No, know that it is, you are being used, right? So you either are in relationship with that, or you decide that, like, no, I'm gonna be in my feelings about it, and I'm gonna keep it moving, and I'm gonna go the direction that I was already going without them. Just because they showed up does not mean that the work has just started. So thank you, Elisa, for beautifully sharing that. Miriam, I wanna ask you, because you've made this commitment to actively divest from white companies, I want you to tell us what that action looks like, and holding brands accountable in solidarity around harm. So having people who share their experiences come together so that there can be consequences, but also action. So can you tell us, like, what that can look like?
Yes, absolutely. My heart is racing after that sermon you just went on. You couldn't hear me, but I'm like, yes, 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 yes. For me, I think you hit the nail on a couple of things of brands, like, I think actually not thinking that we're smart, one, and that they can play us for a fool, because slavery has been going on for the past 400 years, right? And it ended, I believe, 2 weeks ago, right? The revolution is here. Slavery is ending. And if you thought that I wasn't smart and you're coming at me incorrect, that's step one. If a brand has reached out and they do not apologize to me at the jump, I'm going to let them know that there's harm that has been made, an apology that needs to be made. And, you know, I said that to Well+Good, of there were people, accomplices that pitched Well+Good, did not want me to talk about diversity and inclusion, like specifically about an incident. And that was the jump. When they reached out, they said, we're sorry. You know, and we're sorry that we didn't see you, that we didn't hear you. And I'm like, okay, now a conversation can happen. And when a brand approaches you and says, you know, I want to be in exchange with you, and that means that there's a premium on your time, which means an exchange for us. And that's things to look at. And I'm talking to BIPOC people right now. And so if a brand is coming at you, asking you to do free stuff, free labor, and they're not apologizing at the top, you shouldn't even have a conversation. You need to divest your energy from that brand. You need to look at that brand and see their intentionality behind what they're doing. And divest could be unfollowing a brand. Brands get money when they have likes. They get dollars. Unlike unfollow a brand. I see a lot of people that know about white brands doing harmful stuff. When I heard, I didn't even follow Yoga Journal, but when I saw that post about Nicole and I followed them, I would have unfollowed them. So off the jump, if a BIPOC person is telling you about the harm that a company has caused when they've made repeated attempts to open dialogue about repair, and there is a public stance on this happened to me, there is no excuse. Unfollow, unlike, do not buy any products from those brands. I think as leaders in this space, we have an obligation and duty. Sorry, y'all. We have an obligation to stand up and divest from brands that are not about what they say they are, but they're tokenizing people. They're using their proximity to Blackness to get brand equity. We have an obligation to say, I am no longer putting my money behind this brand, and I want my followers to unfollow, unsubscribe, unlike, and not pay these brands anymore. I love what Nicole did and said, here are several other options for you to invest in. I said that about my letter, my public letter to a very harmful manifestation guru. I said, here are 10 other BIPOC women in this space that have manifested these beautiful careers and lives that you can put your money behind. And so as leaders in this space, we need to step up, use our voice, and publicly divest from these companies and give options to reinvest. And especially right now in this moment, because we're in chapter 1 of the end of slavery, in Black businesses.
Woo! So y'all gonna have to start tithing because the sermons are kicking in.
Yes, it's not a one-time reparations. People are like, I gave to HealHaus, I gave to Yoga Foster, I gave to Dive and Well. I want people that are about my brand, that are white and white passing, to have a 6-month plan of how they're going to invest in Dive and Well. And that could be through sending a PayPal, that could be to taking our workshops that are led by diverse people, that could be to sponsoring a dinner. I want you to have at least a 6-month plan.
Beautiful. This is, y'all hear it, right? So it is not just like somebody wrote to me one day, yeah, what else can I be doing besides donating? It's not just throwing money at things, you know, and this idea that like money is enough. It's a tool. And so, but also it runs out, right? It's a resource. And so it has to be in flow. You know, we at Mama Glow ended up putting a donation button on our website for folks to donate. And it was interesting that a lot of people started coming in like, oh, we want to partner on a scholarship. It's like, no, there's no partnership because we done built this thing on our own, right? We already built it. You can now come in and attach to our brand equity, right? And use that to catapult yourself, but also to create for yourself now this image, right? So now I'm doing the work of cleaning up. And guess what? We are the descendants of people who did enough cleaning up. So we will not, right, attach. But what you can do is you can ask, how can I be of service, right? And what does that look like? And like Miriam said, what is a plan of action so that you can be in right relationship with the creators, the founders, the leaders, and the people who are out here doing this work? Because we know that healers are struggling. We know that people who do this work cannot freaking pay their rent, but they are doing life-changing work, right? So what is your commitment to really elevating the people who are the descendants of the people whose practices that you practice, right? How do you actually lift them, right? So thank you for that sermon as well, Miriam. I want to ask Nicole this question too, because Nicole launched a really powerful initiative that she'll share. There's a lot of things that are happening right now, a lot of books, a lot of lists. I see on everybody's Instagram, everybody's an anti-racist teacher now. Everybody has a list. Everybody has a compilation that they found somewhere and that they're posting, which is fantastic. It's nice to see books, and it's nice that a lot of the authors are getting their shine and that these books are bestsellers now. But it's not enough to just get a book and sit it on your shelf and Instagram it. You have to actually do the work, right? So Nicole, in an interview, you talked about how we can't dismantle white supremacy by just thinking about it, right? And so can you speak about the importance of action and what action can actually look like in this moment?
Yes. First, I want to say, just to jump off of what was talking about before, is we can dismantle systemic oppression with our dollars. So it's so important that you think about how you spend as part of an anti-racism practice. So just want to reiterate that, like, divest and then reinvest in the people that are doing the work and the future that we deserve, for sure. I started something called the Anti-Racism Daily. It's a daily newsletter that gives you actual actions to be taking each and every day, because I agree, I see a lot of like passive allyship happening, which is people like buying books and knowing that they're on back order and sitting around waiting for them to get to their houses. That does not help this movement. So the email gives you what's happening in current events, the historical context of why these things have been persisting over time, and the things that you're reading about are not isolated incidents, and how you can change things by signing a petition, by calling people, by calling in your folks and having conversations that are necessary. This is really designed for white people and white women who I know I'm in relationship with. So it's the antiracismdaily.com. You can sign up for that. It's free. Please contribute so that we continue to host conversations. And I will keep sending daily emails until there's no more racism in the world. So we'll see how that happens. We're at the beginning of the end of slavery, right? So glad that I want everybody on this to sign up.
Yeah, everybody here sign up. I just dropped it in the chat, but Nicole, if you can actually type in the URL, that'll be amazing in the chat for folks to follow. Amazing. Elisa, I want to ask you this question. We're nearing the end, y'all. I looked in the chat and there's some questions. I'm going to consolidate and ask probably just one, okay? But I'm still here with the questions that we have for our webinar. Elisa, in an earlier conversation, I know you had mentioned that you're detaching from the word wellness, and that it doesn't reflect the work that is being done, the work that you're committed to, and that the word that you're actually affirming is healing. So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. I've just inherently been finding myself not even wanting to say the word wellness, because it's charged with so many things. And I resonate so much with just, the fact that we're HealHaus, our hashtag is healing is a lifestyle, which for us means that healing is a daily practice. It has to be integrated into your day-to-day. It's not a trend. It should be just like brushing your teeth every single day. It should be that integrated, and it should also be normalized. You should be able to talk about your mental health like any other conversation and not feel like someone's shaming you or feel guilty about that or anything. This is the work that I do, is to try to destigmatize, and really show people that you can be a multifaceted, nuanced. I can be this person that I am and dedicated to my spiritual practice and healing. And I don't have to separate those two things, because I think often we think, oh, well, what does this like person look like that has reached your spiritual peak, or you've finally hit that point where you've done all the work and you're perfect. No, that's not what this is. That's not what this work is. And so for me, like I had mentioned in our conversation, the wellness industry is an industry. It's right now, it is structured as an industry. What it does is a lot of harm. What it is not the reality of what healing is. A lot of it's very surface oriented. And for me, healing is deep work. It's also fun and loose, but it's deep work. Like, you have to access those parts of yourself. You need to be able to lean into community. You need to have access to people that can assist you in that as well. You don't have to do it alone. And right now, what wellness is defined as, I don't resonate with. So like I had mentioned, I'm going to be removing wellness from just like the language of the work that I do, because it just feels so disconnected at this point, and it doesn't really represent who I feel like I am and my community and the work that we do and what we're trying to bring to this world as our offering. So yeah, that's kind of like what I've been thinking about wellness right now. And how I'm trying to disconnect from what that even means, or somebody needs to dismantle that like racism, and it needs to change, because right now it's just not resonating fully for me.
Thank you for that. Language is so important, isn't it? When we think about like how we speak about things and the words that we use, the concepts, and there's so many concepts that are embraced by the wellness industry that are fraught with racism and racist ideology. And so to create your own lexicon and reconnect the language that feels embodied for you, I think is so critically important. And as healers, as folks who are seeking liberation, right, we have to feel unbound by the language that we use. And so I think that's so powerful to be exploring what that's going to look like as you build the future. So thank you for that. I'm going to ask one more question of Miriam, then I have a question of the group. And then there is a beautiful question that we'll end with because it goes back to really why we are here to begin with. So Miriam, I know that you're leading this 4-week digital course for white allies in wellness to decolonize their wellness brands. A lot of people who are here, and we don't know who's all here, but I see a lot popping off in the chat. I'm sure there's some people who want to be in relationship, in business that is optimal, but that's also anti-racist. So can you talk about what that course is and how people can be involved?
Yes, absolutely. My course with Constanza Eliana Chinea, who's an anti-racist educator, yogini. We have designed this course. My company, Indagba Consulting, is actually going to be going away on mindful business strategy. I think you heard it here second. And what we've done is created a way that people can have heart-centered businesses, which most people, if you're running a business in this industry, I want to hope that your heart is in a good place. And we know because of capitalism, sometimes it's not. So people really uncovering what they're here to do on this earth and how they want to contribute to the well-being of everyone, and decolonizing their mindset. There's so much that I have had to do as a business strategist, and learning how to build a business from the ground up that's of servitude to this world, and to everybody in this world, and teaching people those principles, rooted in equity. And that way everyone will walk out with how they're going to shift their business into a more equitable wellness business for everybody and not just themselves. There's a lot of I in wellness, and this is about like the we in wellness. So it's literally a jam-packed 4 weeks. It probably could have been a 6-month practice, but with everything going on with COVID and people opening back up, people's feeds going back to normal. We were supposed to do this a couple of months down the line, and we realized that it's only going to cause harm to more Black and brown bodies if more white business owners do not really commit to doing this work. And so this 4-week course is a commitment to hopefully the entryway into lifelong work that we're going to be doing. And each seat that a white person takes up, they are actively paying for the seat of a BIPOC person to sign up. And that in its practice is anti-racism work, of creating space for BIPOC peers and being led by a brown and a Black woman doing this work. So yes, it starts on July 15th, and there are payment plans. It's very accessible for what you are getting and the lifelong impact that it will have on so many lives, and creating less harm and creating more divinity and sovereignty for everybody.
Thank you for that. And you all, Miriam will type in the chat the URL so that you can find that information. It's so important, right? When we talk about these concepts, because we're in this society that's so focused on rugged individualism and everything, me and go and hustle and, push and market and, launch, there's this real focus on that's actually not rooted in anything well, right? It's actually really dysfunctional. It's how we got here to begin with. And so the we, though, is a concept that is rooted in African ancestral technology, right? It is about community. It is about wholeness. It is about all of us. And so for us to get free, we all have to do the work. And so it's so important. Go to the link, sign up for the course. Thank you, Miriam, for that. And I hope that some people, I could think of somebody who really needs to take your class, who has been going after wellness practitioners with legal, chasing them and basically draining them of legal fees because they don't want people to use the word yoga in their business, right? Oh. And so there are people who are like this, right? Who have lawsuits and companies who have had to disband because they can't keep up with the legal fees because of a group who actually no people of color are in their company, but they're going after everyone for the word yoga. So, people like that should probably take the class. So here we go. We have a final question for y'all. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's happening out here. Folks are wild. So let's talk about, and this is briefly, right? Because we don't have an hour, or else I'm gonna pass the collection plate around again, right? What does anti-racism look like in practice, right? Like what actions do you want people to be taking daily to dismantle white supremacy? And so give, in this, let me preface this by saying, let's give people something snackable and actionable, right? So that they can, like, when they get off of here, that they can actually do, right? And we know that there's like a larger, it's a system that has to be uprooted, right? So, but what are some things we can do as we start to weed? Each one of you, if you could answer just briefly.
One thing I think that's easy is choose something that you just bought recently. I don't know, a pair of pants, a lipstick, I don't care. Commit to buying that from a Black-owned company for the rest of the year.
Beautiful, thank you.
And find that company on your own. Don't ask somebody to help you find it.
Mercy, yes to that. Stop asking people to put together lists of folks for you to follow and buy from. Google it takes 5 seconds for you, not even 3 seconds on Google. Figure it out.
Can I just co-sign that? Please don't ask your Black friend anymore. You just don't. You have to do the work you have to do the work. That's all I'm going to say because it's pretty exhausting. But I'll co-sign what everyone has said over and over. Racism is economics, point blank, period. You have to put your coins into Black-owned businesses, especially right now more than ever in the middle of COVID and going into an economic recession right now, because our businesses are going down the hole, period. Like, I'm fighting right now for my business to stay open, right? I have a brick and mortar, and this is the reality for a lot of Black-owned businesses right now. And a lot of us are closing because we don't have access to capital. We don't have support. A lot of us are self-funded, like myself, and have been through a struggle of trying to get investors. So you have to think about these things. You have to think like outside of your box, of your reality, and what other people may be struggling with. And this is why it's so important to invest in Black-owned businesses. So that's hands down what I will say. Like what Nicole said is super valuable. Think about like what you already have. There's a lot of Black-owned lists that are circulating right now, and just support, because it helps us build our own realities and sustain our businesses and our communities. And it's just beyond important.
Yes, cosign. A simple way that you could also do that too, I want everyone to decolonize their wellness practices. And if your wellness is who you follow on Instagram, who you are doing digital yoga classes with, doing breath work with, your Reiki practitioner, etc., I want you to commit to going to a BIPOC, especially for the next, let's say 2 to 3 months, Black-led, practitioner-led. Go to their classes, show up, go to their spaces. Learning how to listen and be led by BIPOC is anti-racism work. So change up your schedule, and you have lots of places where you could learn from. Follow Nicole, see where she's teaching at. HealHaus has dozens of Black practitioners that you could be working with. Take one of my courses, or anyone at Dive In Well. We have a free swim that's being led by BIPOC. Sign up for Black people's courses and classes.
I co-sign that too. When you're thinking about investing in developing yourself professionally, right? A lot of people are in a space where you're home and you're in COVID like quarantine, and you're like, you know, I should take that yoga, that teacher training, or I should take that coaching, I should, whatever that is, that thing that you're thinking about doing to advance yourself. There are people who are doing that work, right? That you can be learning from, that you can pour your money into. And we have seen this in our work at Mama Glow, in that we launched a digital doula training program. It's globally accessible. People have been coming in from everywhere. It used to be that you had to come all the way to Brooklyn, and now everybody can access it. But the critically important thing is that since our work is so tied to birth equity and reproductive justice, you really need to be learning from people who are from the communities that suffer the most, that are suffering inequities, right? And so you really also need to be trained in tools that can help you to protect, support, affirm, advocate alongside marginalized groups, right? So if you're doing a training in something with a person who's not from that community, it's not going to be trauma informed. It's not going to be informed by their lived experiences of racism and other things to really equip you, right? So think about like, what type of practice do you want to be involved in? Is it a liberation practice, right? And if it is, like, that yoga class is going to be lit, right? Because that is a person who is moving spirit through them to teach you. So think about, it's like when I thought about going to Catholic church when I was a kid, and it was like really hard, you know? And then I would go to Baptist church on the weekends with my father, and it was like, wow, there was spirit there. And that was like, I found my place, right? So find your place and consider that it's different than what you've always conceived, right? Like, do something different, just move differently. And I love what everyone shared, because what it will do for you is it'll expand your lens on life. Because a lot of people don't realize you've been missing out on life by living in one community and not exposing yourself to the world and what it has to offer, right? And so my mom would say something like, it's like eating rice and beans every single day. Like, you got to add other things, right? Let's add to our plate. Let's spiritually, let's add to our plate in terms of, you know, how we support people, what diversity looks like, right? And make sure that as you're rooting yourself in these new practices, that you're telling other people, right? You're sharing, oh yeah, I went to this bomb meditation class with Miriam, like Nicole led this class, like, share that with people. Don't keep it to yourself, because a lot of people do this, that they find a teacher that they love and they keep that teacher to themselves. Share that person with your community, share that person with your following, share that person with your list, and amplify them and pay them for their work. Thank you all so much for today. We're over, but there was preaching going on, so we had to like let the spirit move through each of you. What I do want to say, because there was one powerful question about how people can continue to support you. So just really briefly, what will be the ways that people could donate more? Somebody asked that question. So I just want to end with that. How can people support you more in this moment?
So Reclamation Ventures is my venture fund. We are closing our first round, but in the interim, we are giving away money to underestimated leaders who have been impacted by COVID. We gave away $150,000 a couple months ago. We're starting another round next week. If you want to give to pay it forward, just go to reclamationventures.co and you'll see a link in the GoFundMe where you can support. And all of that money goes directly to people that are hurting right now.
Great. If you could type that in the chat. Beautiful. Miriam.
We have 1 week left of our crowdfunding campaign. So donate to our crowdfunding campaign. That would be amazing. If you don't sign up for the course, donate to the crowdfunding campaign.
Beautiful. Drop that in the chat. Elisa.
Yes. Head to our Instagram, HealHaus, HealHaus, or HealHaus.com. The best way you can support us is to get a monthly membership. We have a really amazing 7-day free trial for folks if you're new. So you get to experience all of our incredible practitioners. There's 6 yoga meditation classes a day, 7 days a week. And then sign up for a membership, $30 a month. You get access to incredible programming, incredible healing. We also have private practitioner services, workshops. We have a really comprehensive workplace wellness program. So all of those things are really amazing if you want to sign up for them. And then also we have a PayPal and a Venmo. You can donate to support our physical space, our studio right now, as we're closed during the pandemic.
Great. Thank you. Drop that into the chat as well. And guys, I'm Lathan Thomas, your moderator for today, founder of Mama Glow. We have at mamaglow.com, if you want to become a doula, sponsor a family that could use a doula, you can go and you can donate on our page as well. We're so thankful for this incredible conversation today and for your energy. Thank you all for being just loving in the chat and come in with the best energy possible. Again, this is the beginning of a journey. This is a larger conversation, but we just want to thank Well+Good for hosting and being in relationship with us in this way. And thank you to each of our incredible, esteemed, illustrious panelists for their time and their energy. And thanks you to each of you who's taken this journey with us. Each one teach one. Tell somebody to register for this if they missed it, so they continue to support and they can watch it. The replay is available tomorrow, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Lathan.
Thank you.
Lathan, you're amazing.
Love y'all.
Thank you.